Stand by. Shooter ready.
Stand by.
All right, welcome back to another episode of the Precision Rifle Series podcast, and with us today we have Runar Jonsson. Runar, can you give us a introduction who you are and what you do for the PRS?
Yeah, my name is Runar Jonsson. I'm originally from Iceland, but over half my life I've lived in Norway. I'm a full-time gunsmith, done rifles and precision rifles my whole life, my whole career at least. And 2 years ago now, you contacted me and wanted some help with the international side of the PRS game. And I've already been, at that time, I'd already been traveling quite a bit and gotten to know a lot of the community over here. And so it sounded exciting. You know, I've in Norway, I've used a lot of time putting on matches and stuff. So I became the International PRS Director, working closely with you on building the international site. So pretty cool, pretty fun.
It is, yep. I had the opportunity last year to come visit. You guys were putting on the Viking Trail, and last year was a little bit different format than it was this year. But so you're the match director of that match. Have a team that helps as well. And you want to explain what the Viking Trail is?
Yeah, it started. It's very simple origin of that match. Yeah? I actually was listening to VP Precision, John Pinch and Jake, and they were like, "Can you imagine like a 3-day match or a 4-day match?" And I was like, "Hey, I have 3 ranges, different. Let's go." So first year it started kind of slow. We had like 40 shooters or something. Next year it grew quite a bit, 60. And then it grew out of control basically. And the crazy format is that we have 3 different days, 3 different ranges, 3 single matches in a way. So it's a hell of a work, but it's pretty cool. It's a cool format, and overall winner, the one who hits the most targets wins the whole thing basically. So
yeah.
I mean, we have pretty cool ranges,
Yeah,
3 different locations.
I was blown away by it last year.
It's a tough match,
you
for
know.
sure.
We had talked for probably a year or so, and then you're like, "Man, you should really come over and shoot this match. You know, give it a shot." And it absolutely blown away. I mean, the first day. I forget the name of the place, but for all American. What did it say it again?
Jørpeland.
Yeah, I'll never be able to pronounce it.
Whatever.
Yeah. It's hard. It's kind of like if you go to Hornady PRC or another one of these matches where it's out there, right? It's a few hour drive out in the middle of nowhere, and then and the views are amazing. I mean, you're going past waterfalls and little lakes, and I mean, you're up in the mountains. But then you get to the destination, and you just pull off on the side of the road, and we shoot against this big mountain face. And at first you're kind of like, wow, it's just this big open, vast expanse that you're shooting across. It looks like you could probably shoot out to 1,000 yards or 1,000 meters, something like that. And then, the first stage kind of goes by, and you're like, "Oh, this isn't so bad." But then by the second or third stage, the wind is just ripping through there, and it's creating a really difficult, challenging place to shoot. Yeah,
because it's partly because of the time of the year. It's when the mountains are still really cold, and the ocean is starting to warm up down the hill, basically. So you get this vortex up there in the valley, and just insane. And how big is the small pond in the bottom? It's like 60 yards maybe across, and you could see waves going through a different direction in it. So in the bottom of the bowl, so it's insane. So
yeah.
But like the locals say, like two weeks later, there was no wind in the weekends there. It's just this small window we have for the match. It's insane. 2 years in a row. So
I think I like it. I mean, I shot really well last year on day one. I think I was like 4th or 5th or something like that. And then I gotten lucky on a lot of wind calls and stuff like that. But I don't know, just the experience of shooting in that type of conditions and the beautiful scenery and all that was awesome. And then after day one, I mean, you're ways away. It was a 3-4 hour drive, and for Americans,
3 hours,
3 or 4 hours at 75 mile an hour. This is maybe 50 tops. Like you're on a lot of these little narrow European roads, and going through a lot of villages, right? And a lot of tunnels. There's tunnels everywhere. and
Everywhere.
then drive 3-4 hours to get, and then get to Riceland, right? Is the name of this,
Yeah. Yep.
right?
Yep. Restaurant Ranch.
And that's Jan's place, right?
Johan's, yeah,
Like
Johan.
family, family farm of his, and it just an amazing place to shoot. Like it felt to me like it was like up north Wisconsin, somebody's cabin. You know, it overlooks a lake that's on the property, and you're shooting, man, probably 270, 300 degrees. Like there's you shoot in almost all directions. Yeah. Very cool place to shoot. And actually that part of the match felt a lot to me like, the barrel maker we used to put on, the types of lanes you're shooting from and across the property, and, challenging target size. It was fun. And then the third day, you're driving another couple hours that evening, and then third day is at like a square range, like you would think like K&M or Twisted Barrel or something like that.
Just smaller.
A little smaller. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. And actually the targets were what, and just thinking meters here, 250 to 600 meters was pretty much everything.
It's only like 400 meters max. So it's
400
super short.
meters max.
Yeah.
But targets are small and spread across the entire spice. So,
Yep.
and we do
that. Yeah. It's Kim games, thinking, speed, planning, everything. You test everything. It was pretty cool when Austin Orgain, I talked to him, it was like 4/5 of the way out in day 3, and I talked to him what he thought. He was like, when I got here this morning, I was like, oh, this is going to be the worst day for sure. And then he said, like, after like one stage, oh, no, he really had to be on this game here as well. So I was like, yes.
Exactly
what I wanted. So, because you have to work with what you got, right? And so.
Yeah, and I think what sealed, so a lot of my thoughts after that match last year, it was pretty clear that you and your team, like Sindra helps put the match on too, right? And Thorin, like you guys have had a lot of experience coming to the United States and shooting different matches, and you took the best of those matches and incorporated it into the terrain that you had available. And I mean, I think the Viking Trail would be one of the best matches on the U.S. Pro Series tour.
Awesome.
Like, honestly, like I think, one of the things that we say quite often here in the United States, right, to match directors, like if you want to be a good match director, you got to go shoot more matches, right? Go experience more things and get to, see how other folks do it. And it is pretty clear that that's exactly what you guys did. And then took all the best things and all the best advice from folks and incorporated into the Viking Trail.
Yeah. And I do the both, but sometimes you just look at what you got and make a stage as fun as we think it would be shooted. And then I both take stages from matches I sucked at, that were really hard for me, and do them. And then I do stages I think are really fun from other matches and copy. I mean, one year we had the Italian skill stage too, because they started on the ground, went above and the ground, back on the ground again.
Okay.
I thought it was super cool, so I just copied that and called it Italian skill stage too. So I just love when people come up with good ideas. I honor them in a way. Just use them. Yeah, use them.
They use them exactly. Man. So that's the Viking Trail, and to me, when I left Viking Trail, I'm like, yeah, Runar is definitely the guy, right? Like you're definitely the right guy to be the international director. One, I think we see pretty similar on things, so it's easy to work with. But two, man, you the match directing you have down. You understand the game really well. You understand, what good competition is, and now the goal is like let's take what we collectively know together and your relationships and everything you have in Europe, and let's try to shape Europe or European PRS, right?
Yeah.
And that's been going well. I guess give us a little bit of an update then on like what we have coming up this year, and like countries that have come on board and what we're doing, right?
Yeah. We can go back to the beginning a little bit, because when you reached out and you kind of asked me what I thought, and my first first thought was like make Europe basically like the USA, like treat every country like a state, and make a pro series where we use the countries instead of the states, and make like a big, so guys want to travel, and also make a certain standard for the matches, like you're talking about, you know. Some countries were already there, some were a little bit behind, but there was a lot of enthusiasm all over the place, basically. So that was really cool, and it started out slow. People were not understanding what we were trying to do. I got a lot of questions. You know, no matter how much you explain stuff, it doesn't always go in. Same as every MD knows. Even no, it doesn't matter how well you write an email. People always ask the question anyway. So it's kind of the same thing. But now I feel it's taking off. Now people are looking at their schedule. They're planning. You know, for looking at their life in a way, and what we can I make that match, and start to plan for it. That was the goal the whole time, basically. And first time this year in Viking Trail, we got two guys from Spain, and one got fourth place, super good. Well, Jose, super well, and we got some guys from Poland. We never had that before. So people all over the place are getting the picture now and starting to travel, and that's super fun. So, but like in like 3 or 4 weeks now, we have the finale in Italy, first finale ever, European Championships, the pro finale.
Yep.
So that's going to be awesome. It's shaping up to be a tough match in an awesome place down in Italy, Tuscany area. David's going to be the MD with the assistance of you, and so it's going to be awesome. And then we have a stacked calendar after that, basically for the rest of the year. We have a great match in Norway. Iceland is coming on board. Sweden has 2 matches. UK is on board again. You know, so it just continues to grow, and more nations are coming on board. We also launched the European, the Rimfire Championship. It's going to be in September, and that is even almost more blast around that, because Rimfire is big in Europe, and because so many countries have restrictions and it's difficult, and ranges are difficult and everything. So the Rimfire side is going to be big, and I'm really happy that we can give those guys something to fight for as well and aim for and goals. So that's pretty cool. And continuing from that, next year we're going to do a pro series for that as well, and the details there we have to shape, both me and you, and use, and including the directors in every country, how we see it and how it's best for the shooters, so everyone can participate. But I think that's going to be huge as well. So a lot of stuff going on over here, a lot of stuff.
Yeah, it's really growing at a pretty rapid rate, and I'm excited to see how the Pro Series, European Pro Series Championship goes here in 3-4 weeks. And we're going to release this podcast this week, so then this will be current. But we had bullet trophies made, and they're shipped. They're in shipping. I think they're in Norway at this point, right? Yep. They should be showing up at your place here pretty soon. I'm excited to hand those out, because I think that's going to seal the deal, right? And people are going to be like, that's what we're going for, you know? And
for sure.
Right. So the winner of the EU Pro Series Championship is also going to get a spot in Squad 1 at the at the US Pro Series finale. Yeah. So I'm excited. I'm excited to hand that out, and I'm excited for that shooter to get to compete.
Not a lot of people know that.
Right.
They
do now.
They do now. That's pretty cool. And that's also the goal we had when we started this, was to have our finale, the EU finale, offset to the US. So the champions from both sides could flip-flop and challenge, you know. Now we see in the US Pro Series that international guys are really starting to kick back. Carly is doing a great job. Seppo is one of matches. Nicholas was leading K&M after day 1. Yeah. So it's getting tight. The race is getting tight. So it's a lot of fun. So
it is. It's exciting to see that. Yeah. And this being the first year that we had finally a European win a US Pro Series match, like, okay, this is becoming a very global sport, right? And it's fun to be a part of it, right? Like,
for sure.
I'm very pro-American patriot, but like I absolutely love seeing Europeans or Australians, Kiwis, New Zealanders, South Africans come over here and compete at the highest level and do really well. I mean, that is like, it's really exciting for me.
Because there's also something in Worlds shows us, we're all the same. You can chat with any of the guys from any of the continents, basically, and it's the same humor, same goals, same everything. So same struggles for us outside the US. Everything is the same. So it's just one big family, and it's so super fun to give everyone something to fight about and compete against. I mean, so
exactly. Yeah, it's exciting. I love it. I love showing up at a match, and it's like, oh, look at how many international shooters we have here, and it's somewhat of an honor, right? Like it's an honor for me to be a part of this, and for globally people to take interest in it. So
same here, man. Same here.
Yeah, heck yeah. All right, let's talk. Let's talk a little bit about some of your personal ongoings and what's happening with you right now, or recently, I should say, right? Yep. So you used to be a gunsmith at I'm gonna screw it up. Is it Yachten Frulit?
You have the free lift, yeah, close.
Yeah, I was close. All right, I was close.
Yeah. Good enough.
Good enough. And you live 3-4 hours away from where you're at now, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
And I worked there for 13 years, and it was fun. Yeah. Good respect and good company. It's the biggest one in Scandinavia, basically. So a lot of traffic and a lot of action. But I like challenges. That's why I said yes to you becoming the international director. That's why I made Viking Trail. I mean, it's just challenges and stuff. So when we got a sniff of a shooting range, with the potential of a shop and a gun shop and a store, we discussed it, me and Thorin, a little bit, and we just let's go. We thought the time was right with my reputation, both here and internationally, and contacts and everything, PRS gig and everything, and just it just you could not do it. So it's 46 acres, I guess.
Okay.
U.S. acres, and we have 3 shotgun ranges, a pistol range, and a rifle range. We don't have a long range on it, but we are up in the mountains, so I'm basically secured myself a 1,000-yard range already. So it's like 10 minutes from us. So we have everything basically, and we're gonna live in the house where the store and the gun shop is, and we're gonna have full gunsmith shop with all the toys to do, whatever we want basically. So it's gonna be one-stop shop for, custom work, hunters, training courses, bachelor parties, whatever. We're gonna do it all here basically. So so it's gonna be super fun, and the fundament is gonna be my the gunsmithing, where I'm the strongest basically, and that all the other stuff we kind of need to learn. I'm not a big shotgun shooter, for example, so I need to get help but I know the guys who are multiple champions of that, so I'll just call them and say, hey, you owe me, come up here and help me put on a good make a good range basically. So and it's at 800 meters above sea level, so it's quite high up in the mountains. It's 5 minutes from a big ski resort. Like bunch of cabins and stuff, so it's a super cool place. We're just at the tree line, so we drive 10 minutes north, we're above the tree line basically. So it's a little bit thinner forest than what we have, for example, Raceland and down there. But it's also a little bit colder, and we still haven't gotten proper summer, while the guys down south have gotten it. So but
we haven't here in Wisconsin yet either. So
okay, good. It makes me happy now. So it's gonna be fun. It's a totally new challenge for us, and it's the first time we're gonna work. Be independent. I've always just worked for someone else by choice, because I had a family. I wanted to be able to work 8 to 4 basically. But now the kids are grown up, and me and Thor, when she started shooting 3 years ago now, it kind of changed everything in a way that now we do it all together. You've seen us match and stuff, so it changes the whole dynamic of the. Like she says herself earlier, when she saw, ammunition or rounds or gear on the kitchen table, she kind of got annoyed. But now it might be hers, so she can't even get annoyed anymore. So it, So now we can do the whole stuff together, and we can walk out our door and shoot at a mountain ridge at like 900 yards and train there. So we can train outside our door now. It's gonna be pretty rad. We're
That's
pretty
cool.
excited, so
That's cool. So, gunsmith by trade, you actually lived in the U.S. for a little bit and did some training and stuff too, right?
Yeah, I took the degree there in the Colorado School of Trades in Denver. So we lived there for almost 2 years. We lived there.
Yeah,
but that was in 2005 to 2007, so it's been a while. So But so I've worked as a gunsmith since 2007.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
But over here, it's not like, I mean, I told Chad Hackler this, that he can only make barrels and make a good living. You can't do that over here because the market just isn't big enough. So I do all kinds of stuff, man, bluing and, fading stocks and adjustable combs and, shotgun work, pistol work, everything, but just all around, all gunsmithing you can imagine, basically. So some is fun, some is less fun, but I mean, it's what you do, right? So
Right. So we had an opportunity last year at the Viking Trail. It was a few of us that came over, and then on the last day, we actually you weren't even there. We got a tour from Sindra of your shop. It was Ted Hager and Matt Partain and myself that came through the shop, and it is a little bit different in Norway than it is here. It was a pretty cool shop that you worked at. It was it felt like a Shields or Gander Mountain or like a big retailer that you would find here. Nice stuff, like wasn't cheap stuff, I would say. And that was all on the first floor, like normal retail. There's hiking, backpacking, camping, and then hunting, shooting stuff. And then the second floor was all like gunsmiths, right? Yeah. And there was it was kind of surprising to see there was the second floor reminded me of a shop like GA Precision or something like that, where it's just
right. Cool.
Yeah, I mean, there was a few different rooms, and there's Cerakote going on, there's lathes, there's everything that you need to be a qualified gunsmith. And now you have the opportunity, you kind of build all that yourself, right? Yeah, that's it's kind of crazy to think, right? I mean, so
we already got a hook on some great machines, so my machine park is going to be basically the same as Jagd and Freelift. Big lathe, big strong mill as well. All the goodies, and Cerakote is going to be here, everything. But my goal is to do mostly like precision barrels and custom rigs and stuff like that. And then, instead of doing the old Mausers and stuff like that, I'm kind of bored of. I can rather do like training courses or, sell some stuff and, kind of mix it together a little bit and make my day even better, basically. So, but it's going to be fun. I can do it exactly as I want to. So it's going to be awesome.
And you get to do it at home in an awesome location like that. That I absolutely love for you.
Thank you.
Yep. So how big is the shooting population, say, there in Norway? And then some of the other work that you get to do, right? Like let's say you're doing precision rifle gunsmithing stuff. Can you do that for folks in adjacent countries, call it Sweden and Finland, Denmark, Austria, whatever,
Yeah.
How does that legally work?
We can do that. There are some import-export regulations on the serial numbers and stuff, but Norway regulations is like if a Danish guy comes up, as long as I keep his old barrel, just throw that away, basically, he can leave with a new one. That is completely illegal in a way. I think the Swedes are saying, because he out with one, in with one, basically. So it's he just leaves with the same gun that he came with, basically.
It's got to be chambered in the same thing, like same contour, all of that.
Yeah. And I have to basically copy a serial number and everything.
Wow.
Then it's legal, yeah. But if he's going to get like 2 or 3 barrels or an extra barrel, then we have to get like an export permit from Norway, import it to Denmark and all that kind of stuff. So, and then it gets complicated. But from what I understand, talking to different people, there aren't a lot of gunsmiths doing this stuff at my level, or me and the guys who we really go into this stuff. There are a lot of guys who chamber a barrel, but they do it kind of old-fashioned or not the most precise way. And so a lot of guys have already asked from different countries, they want to make a trip out of it, because if you think about it, we have a shooting range here. They can come, stay for a night. I fix the barrel while they wait, basically, and then they go shoot it in the afternoon and start breaking it in and on my range, basically. So it's gonna be, people can make a trip out of it, and even buddies can make a trip out of it, and
that's awesome.
They can have a camp right out of the door, and we can hang out and everything's good. It's gonna be different. We're gonna offer something nobody else has, in my opinion. So I think it's gonna be fun.
That'll be cool. Be cool. Heck yeah.
Oh.
Heck yeah. Man, so let's talk a little bit more of the PRS EU Pro Series here. What are plans, I guess, going forward? So this year the championships in Italy. 2026. Do we have an idea where we're going to host this thing?
No, not yet. I mean, the guys, we just talked to the directors and see who is capable. I've mentioned it to a couple of countries, and people, after people started to see what we were doing, the interest kind of rose. So there are a couple of countries that can have it. I could have it here, but I'd rather, I don't want to take it from myself or a director, but if nobody else steps up, I'll do it. But that is an option for sure. But now we just talk to the guys, and the guys who want to kind of apply for it or ask for it, we'll just have a discussion, all of us, you included, and see what is best, because there's a lot of stuff. Like, unfortunately, Italy now, we thought, we didn't realize, because like Tom Mogul, he's a junior from France, really good shooter. Yeah, juniors aren't allowed centerfire in Italy, but it might actually, David might have fixed that now. There's a small hope. There's a light in the tunnel now, so he might have fixed that actually. But that's just something that, went past us when we planned this whole thing, because they'd already had the World Championships there, where juniors just shot, but there was rimfire, so it was different rules, so it's kind of crashed, So that's a challenge with Europe, it's never the same in every country, so you basically have to adjust to every country and every situation in a way. So, and the languages and everything is, so it's not the same as you. Only thing you have a Texan dialect or a Montana guy calling you. It's here we have guys who barely speak English. I'm trying to explain this stuff too. So it's been a challenge, but we're going to do the same. It's going to be at best 3 scores. We're going to copy the US there. Originally we were going to have maximum 2 in your own country, 1 in another country, but I think we're going to continue just. Probably I don't think we're there yet. No, so just three scores. Get as many countries to host matches as possible, so people can chase the series and chase points, and just continue to make the quality of the match even better. The whole goal is, because when I traveled abroad before all of this, we used a lot of money, came to some matches, and they were not up to par. You were they were just terrible. Targets falling down, course of fire were 10 years old with all kinds of stuff going on. And so that I kind of wanted, I don't want to tell people what to do, but I do want to have like a guidelines in a way. Please follow this, but do you? Because I don't want to go to Italy and shoot the match I'd put on here, or Sweden or Spain. I want Javier or David or whoever to do their match.
Their flavor.
Their flavor, Use your terrain, use your ideas. That's the whole point. But if a guy uses, 2,000 euros to go from Spain to Sweden, he knows that he's going to get a good match at least. So that's that's the whole point with the Pro Series. So
that's somewhat of the goal of this podcast too. And I talk to match directors and bring them on, and we talk matches and stuff. Like, it's like, and that's the beauty of the PRS, I think, is that match directors have freedom to put on whatever style match
for sure,
that they want, right?
That's the whole point.
Right. That is, I agree. In my opinion, it is the whole point. However, there are some standards that we they're maybe not written, right? But like, don't have hokey props. Don't have props that are shaky or, really difficult to shoot off of just because they're flimsy. Yeah. Right. You can have challenging props,
for sure.
But make them steady, and, try not to do a lot of hokey stuff. I mean, we've talked about this on a podcast a couple times. I know I, at least with Steiner, like the, types of course of fires that are just, way too challenging, for a shooter to keep track of where they're at in the course of fire and what's going on. And like, it's kind of fun as a match director to put something like that on, and, a little trickery, but like, the amount of effort that now the ROs have to put in to try to remember where things are at and all this, like, there's just, it's kind of an unwritten standard, but like, man, if you make course fire simple, like, it's easy on the ROs too,
And also the point we had when we traveled, there was maybe like early Italy is fixed now, a long time ago. There was one stage, there was 1,000 meters. Everything else was short. So we started that in the morning. you cleaned it, and you
Yeah.
already were ahead. You could ruin your whole match if you shot at in the afternoon.
Yeah.
And winds from the Mediterranean Ocean basically were in the mountains. You were screwed. You were
Yeah.
playing with 1.5 mils between shots basically. So nobody can control the weather. We know that, but at least if that's what we did in Europe on Viking Trail day one.
Mm-hmm.
Every different point of the range, you had at least within 100 meters of each other, maximum
Yep.
range basically.
Yep.
So it didn't matter where you started, didn't start. It was
No.
you did have in a couple of stages you would have a long range anyway. So
Exactly.
small things like that unexperienced MDs or guys who don't travel don't understand. Like my matches, I do a lot of trickery and mindfuck, but there's always a theme or a point. So if you just read it a little bit, you can see a pattern, and it's easy. So all the arrows, they complain when they see it, and after 2 shooters, they, it's just like this, and this. So always a pattern at least. So, but it's super simple,
Exactly.
but still, like I said, but
right.
yeah,
and I don't think it's boring. I think fair is fair, and I think shooters appreciate that, right?
For sure.
All right, let's talk about the EU Pro Series here. So we have, I'm going to scroll down in the standings here. We have 107 shooters with points. The top shooters prior to the finale, and we still have. Yeah, we're done with matches. The last one was in Wales, May 17th.
Yeah.
All right, so 2 guys with 300, Cinder Nyland and Dan Gibbons. And then we have Tom Mogul third. Hopefully we can get that figured out, right? So Tom Mogul is a junior from France. He's got 297 and a half. And may not be able to shoot in Italy. And that's a mistake, if we can't get that straightened out.
I think he's listed. I think he's listed at the match now. I got a text from David yesterday that his name was on the roster, so it just looked like he needs to, finish his registration. So I think it's fixed, but
awesome.
Fingers crossed for sure. He's a super nice kid, and his father is awesome too. So
So they've I've met them. I think initially it was at Worlds last year in Colorado, and then they came to the U.S. Pro Series finale. Super nice gentleman, super humble, and good shooter. I mean, Tom's 16, 17 years old, really good shooter. It's awesome to see somebody in France be able to compete at that type of level, and that's probably the biggest difference still with EU competitors versus US competitors, right? It's just the opportunity to get out and shoot, right? Yeah. I mean, that's actually, there's disparity across the U.S. That's the same way. Like the guys here in Wisconsin, we don't have that many opportunities to actually shoot further than 600-700 yards. But then you take a guy like Austin Orgain, who, on his drive to and from work, there's several spots he can stop that already has steel, set up that he could shoot anywhere from 300 to 1,000 yards. It just makes
it makes a difference for sure.
Makes a huge difference.
Imagine a lot of countries in Europe, you only have 300 meters maximum. And that's it. And those are often square ranges for like international, electronic target shooting. So you can't do whatever you want there either. It's basically just lying down and verification to 300 meters. So yeah, it's difficult, but a lot of guys are growing now.
No, it's awesome to see. So top 5, Cinder Nyland, Dan Gibbons, Tom Mogul, Josh Martin in 4th, and Oscar Yarvi in 5th. Oscar won the Viking Trail this year, right? Yep. He's from Sweden. Man, it's awesome to see. I can't wait to see who wins this thing and then who gets that opportunity to take home a golden bullet. It's the exact first ever. Yeah, exactly. And it's the same golden bullet that we have here at the U.S. Pro Series finale.
It's so cool.
Made in Oklahoma at the same company, Artisan Machine Works. It says European Pro Series on there. It's awesome. I can't wait to hand it out, and I can't wait for that person to come over and have the opportunity to compete, in the U.S. Pro finale. It's going to be awesome.
Yep. And vice versa. I hope some guys from the U.S. who, get some bullets there want to go to our finale next year, basically. So it's going to be kind of like the Riders' Cup in a way, and the guys going back and forth. It's gonna that is our goal, and it will happen. It's just people are understanding and
time.
So
so let's talk about that. So this August, there's an opportunity for. I would say it's even a little bit easier to call Ryder Cup, right? Like the Iceland match.
Yeah.
So Iceland Air flies direct from a lot of cities here in the U.S. Very nice airline. Everything. I took it when I went to Norway last year. Everything's really clean. Food's fantastic. Hospitality's awesome. And it's cheap. I think flights are subsidized by the government of Iceland, right? I think that's partly why the flights are cheaper, because they're trying to promote tourism in Iceland. At least that's the impression I got, because there was a lot of advertisements about, heading to Europe, stay for an extra day in Iceland, right? Like come experience Iceland on your layover or whatever to Europe. But anyways, so like you said at the beginning of this, you're originally from Iceland. You have a good relationship with those guys, right?
Yep. Super.
Yep. So the match there in August, I'm assuming you're helping out with, and I guess give us some details there.
Yeah, it's a cool range, because I've been with the Icelandic guys having courses and stuff since actually mostly the first year. I've gone every year for 3 years, and they grow and grow and grow. And it's a small group for sure, but they're super enthusiastic. And we had 8 guys from Iceland at Viking Trail this year.
That's awesome.
We had how many? It was like 5 or 6 at Worlds from Iceland.
At the Worlds, yeah.
Yeah, and Arnar Geir, who is the MD for the Icelandic match, he has the same approach as me and you. He takes the best from every match. He basically came to Viking Trail the first year just to see the match, just to experience course of fire. Then I went to shot his match, 2-day match last year, and it was an awesome match. He really thought about details. So, he gave his shooters more time so they can enjoy more shooting. He saw Icelandic shooters were a little bit behind, Worlds and stuff, so he gave them a little bit more time, but still, so a lot of good things, and the course of fire was really thought out and good. So and the range is just amazing. It's like walking into the set of Game of Thrones and shooting a match, basically. So it is amazing. And they're middle of nowhere, so there's no restrictions and no nothing. They can do whatever they want, and it's going to be in August. It's going to be 10 squads, and it's going to be epic for sure.
Yeah, last year when I came to Norway, like I said, I flew through Iceland, and I went through EU customs in Iceland, which, I mean, I didn't know what I was doing. Like I'd gotten off the airplane. I'm like, well, I guess I'll grab a meal and kind of hang out here. And then everybody left the terminal, that was on the same flight as me, and then like new people were showing up, and I'm like, man, I don't. Like I have an hour before I got to get on my next flight, but I feel like there's something wrong. And I finally went and asked for some help, and they're like, you need to go through customs, or we call it U.S. customs. I don't, I don't remember what it was called, but basically I got to go through the process of, coming into the EU. So I figure out like, oh, that's on a different level. I got to go down there and then come back to a different terminal area to get ready to get on a plane. And, so I go into the downstairs or upstairs, go to this different level, and standing in line. And I'm kind of nervous at this point, because I'm like, man, I wasted an hour just sitting around. And it was a nice younger lady. I say younger, I mean, she's probably 30, 35, something like that, younger than me. And I show her the paperwork, the invitation from the match in Norway, and she's like, so it looks like you're coming over here for a competition. Yep. It's a friend of mine that's hosting this match. I'm coming over there, and I'll be there for basically a week and then heading home. And she's like, yeah, looks like everything's in order. Good luck at your match. And it was like actually encouraging. And I'm like, you would never get that type of positive response from a U.S. Customs and Border Patrol agent. Like they are programmed to just be by the book and no emotion or anything like that. But I was blown away. Like going through that process in Iceland there, like entering the EU, like it was very warm and welcoming. So I would expect that, this match in August, if folks want to go over and shoot it, which should be very easy. Like for instance, I think it was $400 for a plane ticket, round trip plane ticket from Chicago to Reykjavik, Iceland. That's cheaper than like last year I flew out to Idaho to go to the Snake River match, and from Chicago to Boise, it was more than that. I think it was like $650, $700. So,
so it's a no-brainer.
Like it's super easy. We'll have to probably in the show notes here on our blog on the PRS page. We'll put some information about how to get into Iceland and what that match is going to look like, and how to sign up and all that. But super easy to get there. I would at least from flying in and out of there, it looks like a really cool place to go visit. I mean, like where the airport was, it looked like the surface of the moon, and I think it's just like a lot of volcanic rock and stuff like that. But and
the drive from the airport to the area where the match is like 2.5 hours. Okay, and it's completely changing scenario all the time, from volcano to sand to grass, and it's just Iceland is amazing like that. So and nobody will regret the trip ever. I've never met a Norwegian that has, you're from Iceland. I've been to Iceland. I loved it. Everyone for 15 years, nobody's never not liked it. So it's gonna. And the good thing is that Arnar, he will help you if you reach out with registration, customs, whatever. And it's still a small country town vibe, so he can reach out to get help. To help people, it's not, like entering the UK or whatever, when you're just an ant in an anthill, basically nobody cares. It's still a little bit human, basically. So, and he's super enthusiastic about putting on a good match. He asks me about targets, not to lose any targets, times, target sizes. He's super enthusiastic about the match.
That's awesome.
The course of fire. So I can vouch for that's going to be a great match, and we can't wait. This is going to be, me and Thorin are going to be there helping him and either our rowing or shooting it. And it's going to be epic for sure. So
that's awesome. Yeah, I meeting those guys at Viking Trail last year. It was Dewey and Artnar, right? Yes. And I forget the gentleman, dressed super well.
Steinar.
What's his name?
Steinar Smári.
Yeah, Steiner. Yeah.
Steiner.
Steiner. Yep. He's got like the derby hat on. He's got a wool vest. Smoking cigars. Actually, a really cool story there. He shoots zero compromise scopes, and he had a I think it was an 8-40 last year that he took off his rifle at the end of Viking Trail, and had folks that had shot the match like sign it. Like I remember we were actually at dinner, and Steinmeier walks in and hands Partain a scope and a silver Sharpie. It's like, hey, do you mind signing my scope? And I'm like, man, that's a really good. It's a really expensive artifact.
But super cool.
But really cool idea.
Really cool. And now he's still shooting that scope, and some of the signatures are fading off. So he was like, can I do something to protect them? I don't want to lose them. I was like, we're just circle the thing clear or something to make it last. So
But those guys are so awesome. Every one of them I met, like very welcoming, and I'm excited to be a part of this.
Yeah, for sure. And another thing, when you mentioned the customs in Iceland being nice, didn't the police in Norway do the same thing to you when you asked for the import papers?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I needed to send the invitation and an application and all that in with some cash to the Norwegian police, and they same thing. It came back in like 8 hours approved, with a really, really warm email that was with it. Hey, good luck in your competition. I hope you really enjoy Norway. We're excited to have you here. Like, man, this is awesome.
And the guy who approved that, he's retired now, sadly, but he talked to me. He's like, there are a lot of guys coming from abroad. I was like, we have 23 nations this year. So where's the match again? I might actually drop by and take a look. Awesome. He was super interested in everything. So it's fun when it's like it should be cool. Like that, right?
It should be. All countries. I mean, and that's part of all what we're doing here, right? Like we're trying to expose people to this sport, right? It's safe, it's fun, like it's so many positive things, and I think sometimes the media, I know for a fact, like if like in my reloading room here at the house, like if the media came in, they'd probably spin this to be something that it isn't. It's an
Oh
underground
yeah,
bunker. The guy's got
for
100
sure.
pounds of powder in his basement, and
Yeah.
10 million
Yep, for
rounds of
sure.
ammo. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, it
What
would
is he
be.
planning?
Yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And that it's not that, right? Like this
Yeah.
is it's an awesome community. It's very welcoming, very helpful. It's all of those things,
Yeah.
and it's the same here in the U.S. as it is there in Europe. If not even more welcoming, right? Like
And that's
everybody
all
that
over, man.
yeah,
And I mean, not we've mentioned Iceland and giving them a shout out, but I mean, Javier's doing a great job in Spain. His match is
yep,
awesome. And the UK is awesome.
yep,
Now we have two matches in Sweden, and they're both really good. Jens in Denmark, he's going to put on a match in September. The
awesome,
Gibbons boys in the Ireland also in September. And they're all good matches for sure. But
yep, yep,
and I don't know the regulations for foreigners to travel, but even if you're just there, reach out. Guys have extra guns. Join them. I mean, Josh Showalter, what's
yeah,
it called?
yep,
Yeah, he's
yep.
a pilot.
Showalter, yep.
He reached out to me in like 2021 or something. Then he was stationed over here,
Oh
and he
yeah,
was like, he was
pilot.
like, are there any matches in Norway I could join? Or I don't have a gun. I was like, yeah, you can borrow mine and just join him. But he was shipped off to Germany just before the match. But I mean, that's the
Yeah,
point. He just reached
yep.
out, and before he knew it, he could shoot a match. When I was in Las Vegas in 2021, I reached out
Hmm.
to Jeremy Ty and those guys, and I borrowed the gun right away through Mike Lee at Defiance, and I shot the match with the borrowed gun. So it's all over the same basically.
Yep,
So
yep.
like you say, that's what we want guys to. Don't be afraid. Come and experience it. It's so fun
It
and
is.
all
One
over.
of the only regret that I had when I came to the Viking Trail was I didn't bring a rifle over that I could just part out, right? Like there was,
Yeah.
it was Sven from Sweden. I was shooting a 6 Creed and it was a brand new Bartline Studeville Precision. But it was on the impact action. That's like my personal action. I wish I would just would have brought. I should have just talked to Tate.
Yeah.
Hey, can you give me a wholesale price on an impact? I'm going to take it to Europe. Somebody in Europe's going to get this thing, for the same price. And but yeah, I brought some tools and stuff with me, like I would have taken the entire rifle apart and sold everything for a cost or whatever, and tried to hook up guys there in Europe.
That would be super cool.
Yeah, if legal, right? Let me preface that, like, if it's legal to do that, but like that's what I plan to do when I come to Iceland. Like, I'll have an open rifle, probably in 6 Dasher or something like that. That's super common, or something that easy to get ammo for, or 6 Creed or something like that, and then hopefully come home with nothing. Right?
Yeah.
Like hook you guys up with some quality parts.
Iceland is pretty lean with that. They can talk to the police and just fix it in a way. Some countries can't do that, but Iceland is. When Brian Black from Lumpy came over here, he forgot to tell airliner he was bringing a gun out of Norway again. He told them you're supposed to tell him 24 hours before you leave.
24 hours, yeah.
Yeah, and he didn't do that. So when he called me at 5 a.m. from Oslo, I was like, Runar, I have a problem. I can't bring my gun with me. If you drive up here, I'll give you the gun. I was like, but it was like 4.5 hours from me. I was like, I'll hop in the car and help you, man. But take your stock and everything with you at least. And so he took that with him, and they actually stayed here. But then, of course, as soon as I got in the car, I called the police and say, I have this action. He wasn't allowed to it. I'm a gunsmith. I work there and there. Please help me. I was like, noted. You're okay. Because if I would have been stopped with it, it's a legal part. So I would have lost all my guns and stuff like that. So,
oh my gosh.
So
yeah.
So but I still had to help the guy, right? So but it sorted itself out in a way, because it's the same guy who sent you the nice email. He was like, yeah, now I know it. You're good, and just send me the serial number and we'll fix it, basically. So
that's awesome.
So you have to be careful, and Morgan King wanted to sell his gun in France, in the Worlds in France, but we probably could have just stuffed it in the car somewhere and driven home. But if you get stopped, it's you lose everything and you're fucked, basically. So excuse my language, but
that's all right. Now let's talk real quick. So like, let's say you're so the EU Pro Series is a series of matches, right? That every couple weeks. Finale's in June. We're going to start back up as soon as that's over, with July, August, September, whatever, we're going to start the next season.
Yep.
Let's say a U.S. shooter wants to come over and shoot like maybe, a couple weekends back to back in different countries. Are the laws pretty similar that once you're in Europe, you can kind of travel as you will?
I'm not sure. We have something that's called a European firearms passport.
Yeah. Is that something that a U.S. citizen can get?
I don't think so. I don't think so, but I'll check into that for sure. And Ted Hoker has actually been pretty enthusiastic about the European side. So I'll probably work a little with him on the regulations, and we can just we've talked about this earlier, kind of just guide shooters to him for help, basically. But I'll check on that just to be sure. I don't think so. I think you get an import permit for the country you're traveling to.
Okay.
But he did take his rifle to both Norway and Italy. So he did the legwork there. So I'm not 100% sure.
Yep.
But
we'll get that figured out. No, yeah, we can make a blog post on the PRS site.
For sure.
Give Ted credit there.
Yeah. So for sure. Awesome. We'll figure it out. Somehow it's possible anyway. So. But awesome. But also, like we talked about, also a bonus for everyone is that the US guy can use a score from over here, and vice versa. Yep. We can use inside between our finales and your finales, we can use one score. So it kind of initiates the will to travel even further than just another country.
Yeah, if a US shooter wants to shoot a EU Pro Series match, like you can use, if you want to shoot 3 of them, you can shoot as many as you want. You can take one score and apply that to your US pro standing. So I think last year actually there was quite a few of us that came over to shoot the Viking Trail, and Austin, Oregon skull drug everybody, and like I came all the way to Norway and earned 84 points. It was pretty awesome. Which is it's pretty typical for me. If I'm at a match at Austin, Oregon, I'm taking home about 80 some points. But yeah, he got 100 for that and was able to use that as one of his 3 scores for the finale. So,
and even now, see Nicholas Umland, he shot K&M. He was 4 or 5 points behind first. So he'll use that score. This is going to be one of his better scores actually for the European finale this year.
Exactly.
So so you can, why not?
Yeah, and any of the EU guys, like if you wanna improve your score, you think you can, like you can quick squeeze in a couple U.S. Pro Series matches between now and 3rd week of June.
Yeah. Seppo, you're out there, right?
Yeah, Seppo is, I'm sure, yeah. Yep, Seppo is sitting, it looks like 11th place, 283 points.
In the U.S.
We'll have to double check that, because I think he won a match this year. Actually, he's probably going to go back to, he won a Apprentices match, but he's probably going to go back to Raton, where he tied with Austin Bushman last year.
For sure. Yep.
So, yeah.
So it might be a couple of guys in even at least top 10. Both Carly and Seppo is going to be high in the end of the season, because there are some new names winning over there. I watch all the scores in every country, basically. And from top to bottom, basically, in every match. And you can see there's a lot of shift now. And Jeff Gear's on fire. He doesn't count, basically. but you see some new names up top, basically. So it's pretty fun. I love when that happens. So a small shift in a way. So
yeah, it was awesome to see Nicholas Umland this last week. I checked on Saturday, and it showed that he was leading the Collis match, which I think there was something a little bit screwy with the scores, that maybe he shot a higher than 10 round stage or something like that. So he had a couple extra impacts. Because I had heard that like Jeff Geary only dropped like 3 or 4, on Saturday or something like that. And Jeff was in like 5th or 6th, but he was technically in the lead. But checking on scores Saturday night, and it's like Nicholas, and he's sponsored by Collis. That's the Collis match. It was like, this could be really cool, Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's fun. I can't say it enough. I'm excited every time I see international shooters. I'm not just going to say Europe too, but Europe, New Zealand with Anthony Colley and everybody in between. Like, it's awesome to see. It's awesome to see the level of competition increasing everywhere, and the sport growing over there, and well, in large part thanks to all the work you're putting in. So
Thank you.
thank you.
My pleasure, man. I love this stuff, and this has been my life for like 5 years now, just
Mhm.
PRS, and actually for me getting to do this, it's been super fun. And I mean, I had a meeting with Romania,
Yeah.
last night.
Okay.
They want to join. It's a small group of like 6-7 guys who are gonna travel a little bit and shoot, but they want to have their name on the map as well, and so it's growing all over the place, and we
Heck
don't
yeah.
care how big or small. I mean, we just want everyone to have the same possibility and join our series and have a flag and fly it basically. So it's gonna
Absolutely.
be yeah. So
Absolutely.
mm,
Awesome. Well, we'll see you in person in a couple weeks here.
Yep.
Give Thorn my best, and
well,
and thanks for coming on to the podcast, Runar.
My pleasure. Thank you for
Thank
your
you.
support as well and everything. So it's awesome. Love it.
Thank you.
Bye bye.